Buenos dias, and good morning to you, senor, senora, and senorita. This message is for you, and it comes from the heart of dawn as we journey through the awakening of the dawn of humanity. Well, I trust you are enjoying this backdrop this morning, as I am. I took a bunch of pictures and some video. Anyway, well, religion. Like I said, it's one of my many addictions. And now I had a bunch of them. Now I got to give you a little backdrop to how this religion thing fits in. I grew up in a strict Irish Catholic home. We used to say the rosary every night in between fights and arguments and disagreements. And went to Mass every Sunday. Yeah, every Sunday. It was a mortal sin. See, everything that they wanted you to do, if you didn't do it, was either a venial sin or a mortal sin. Yeah. And you were bad and you were going to hell, like all of those manipulative things. Anyway, so there it was. And, I was an altar boy for 8 years. I was taught by nuns for 10 years. And I had a family background of religious people. So I had an uncle that was a priest. I had a second uncle that was a brother. I had 3 second cousins that were nuns. Let me see. What else? Another uncle that went to the seminary but didn't finish. Yeah, and he was a second cousin, was the Archbishop to New York. Yeah, so a little bit of religion in the background there. Comes from being Irish and Catholic. And anyway, so in my quest for finding the truth of the Iamdivinity, it became one of them later on. I ended up going to AA in January of 1980, and then I was in Calgary, and I moved back to PEI. And then what happened was I started this really deep spiritual quest. Like, I used to go back into the wilderness with books like St. John of the Cross and Thomas Merton, and like all of these really deep, heavy systems. And anyway, I decided once that I was going to, I don't know if I had a time about it, but it ended up being a year that I went to Mass every day. My uncle used to do Mass at the Precious Blood Sisters at 7:30 in the morning, every morning. And so, yeah, I drove into town, was there for that, and I did that for a whole year. Went to Mass every day, went to communion every day, went to confession every week, sometimes twice a week. Yeah, did it all. And I still felt this emptiness. And I said, what's going on here? I'm doing everything that I'm told will give you this whatever, this peace and contentment. And of course, if you don't have it, you're doing something wrong. Yeah, you're doing something wrong. And that's what I did. I just kept doing that. And then I just realized that whole sin thing and the punishment, and and I was in charismatic renewal for 5 years. So it's definitely not like I didn't know what I was up against and what I was doing, and I had the breeding for this, let me say. And that's where the addiction. And so addiction is that we have an identity that's externally referenced, and we're trying to make it whole. But if it's external, it's literally impossible. And so there's this hole in the floor, hole in the ground, hole in the sky, where it can't be filled. There is no filling. There is no filling of it. There isn't. There isn't. Hi, Riley. And so I did them all. Did them. Never missed one. Yeah. That drivenness. And so to compare religion to the Iamdivinity, like I liken the religion to be in the category of the personal development. As awesome as it is, if you look at the Dr. David Hawkins' book, Power versus Force, the best you can do is get to a 400 on the scale of 1,000 of levels of consciousness. 400 that's at your best. Most are lucky to get over 200. Yeah, that's right. But what I'm talking about is Iamdivinity is at 700 plus. 700 plus. Like there is no comparison. There isn't. Hi, Soul. Love your updates, my dear. And so it's absolutely amazing, this whole thing about these externally referenced identities that we are trying to quench through these 12-step programs, through these personal development programs, through the religion program, whatever they are. And just like everything else, it's an evolution. But that evolution it's over. Like there's a better way. There is. And imagine spending lifetimes trying to get from 200 to 400, and to be able to go from your, let's say you're maxed out at 400. Let's say you're maxed out at 400. To go from 400 to 700 in 3 hours. Like, think about that. Think about that. The monasteries, like they're talking about it, but they can't hold. Why can't they hold? Well, because that external identity is involved. It is. And you cannot quench it. It's like trying to get a drink of water with a strainer. There is no filling it. And you will have to use a mood-altering chemical to try to feel good because of how much emptiness you feel from doing it that way. There's a lady here right now, Soul, that took the program a week ago. She's been in nothing but the most highest bliss. Her symptoms left immediately. All of them. That all happened in less than 3 hours. That was in a group. The one that we'll be doing today in Spanish at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and the one that we'll be doing tomorrow at, the time changes things. So it'll be 11 o'clock Cabo Standard Time for the English tomorrow. And you can have what Saul had. Like, seriously. If you read her updates, you're just like, what ashram did she spend 10 years in? And all she did was on a call, a Zoom call, for 3 hours with another dozen people. Like, there we have it. And I have found the truth. And it's the Iamdivinity. And the reason it's the truth is because it's who you are. It's who you are. Isn't that absolutely amazing? And all the difference is, now it's quantum, the difference. If you're searching for anything outside yourself to give you something inside yourself, it's not going to work. You will never get that quenched. So, what's exciting about it, there is an answer, and for one reason or other, I was the one picked to deliver it. And so, I'll be humbled to continue doing this. Hi, Kevin. And it's just so amazing how different I feel from that emptiness, trying to quench it, going to church and every day and going to communion and going to confession and all of those things, all of the things that are righteous and good and the best, yeah, didn't work. Might work for a few. Now I'll give you an example of, because these addictions, here's an example. I had a lady, she was almost as bad as me as far as that strict Irish Catholic, and it was that rigid, this is the way it is, and this is the way it has to be, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to do it. Anyway, she ran across me somehow, some way, and I was not planning on working with her. She had such resistance. She had such toxic programs. Doesn't mean they can't be cleared up. But it was her resistance that I didn't want to deal with. It was her resistance. And finally, after probably a month of cajoling and trying to get, I said, okay, I will. So I took her through the process. And she had a ton of symptoms. Like when you're that rigid and it's empty, and it's not being filled no matter what it is, you're going to have symptoms, guaranteed. Whatever they are, that's another story. So anyway, we did it. And we met again to do phase 2, 2 weeks later. And she's saying, praise Jesus, praise Jesus, praise Jesus. I said, what are you praising Jesus for? He healed me, he healed me, he healed me. No, that wasn't Jesus. That was you. You get away from me, you satanic being. You satanic thing. You are evil. I said, evil? Huh. And how's that now? Saying that it wasn't Jesus. Well, I said, tell you what. Let me answer this. Just answer this one question. If it was Jesus, why did he wait until you were 60 years old to do this? That was first of all, that was the end of the relationship, but it wasn't the end of the onslaught. Then she went after me like the narcissist that she was, to hold on to her addiction, her only thing that gave her a tiny little hypnotic piece of false feeling, of hope, all of those. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that absolutely crazy? Now, the reason I'm talking about this today is because this is Holy Week. Like, I'm telling you, Holy Week, Thursday, all I did was drink water. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah. Oh, it got really intense in Holy Week. Oh. Starting on Thursday night, all day Friday, Good Friday. I even once was back in the woods doing my things, and I even found some thorns and made a crown. Like, that's how into this I was, trying to purify my evil soul, those sins that keep coming up. Yeah, that the venial sin and the mortal sin. Yeah, and of course it never worked. And then Saturday, and then the Saturday night. And keeping in mind, I was an altar boy, and even as an adult, I would help the priest. I even did all the readings. Like, I'm telling you, there's not too many had that in-depth interior knowing of the Catholicism as me. Because I went for everything. Everything I was addicted to, I went full force, including this. And it didn't work. It didn't. I'm not saying it hasn't worked for others, but it can, at the maximum, get you to 400. If you look at that chart. Yeah. And we need, where we're at as humanity, need to be at the 700, the enlightenment. And that's what soul that is on this call right now got last Sunday in 3 hours in a group of 10 people. Isn't that crazy? Not one ashram, not spending quiet in, 20 hours a day in quiet and stillness. Now, don't get me wrong, I love stillness. I love quiet. That's one of my things. So they had the pieces right. It was how it was done is what was missing. And so, there you have it. There you have it. And I trust that this Holy Week for you will be holy enough that you will be guided to have the experience similar to soul. And you can have that one, if you're Spanish speaking, today at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And tomorrow in English at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. There's the difference. And that's it. If English speaking, tomorrow at 11 Mountain. And Spanish today at 11. Imagine having an instant and permanent transformation by donation, identical, similar, little less or little greater than souls. Imagine that. Yeah. And I tried to put her updates on Facebook yesterday. I'll do it again today to tell you this is the word that I'm using. The word that I'm using is ineffable. And the reason you're having difficulty understanding it is because of the high vibration it is. And there's no English language to bring you to that level to understand it. But if you look at the chart that Jamie put on my Facebook page, you will see that chart. And I'm saying, you don't have to understand the experience that soul had. That soul had. You don't have to understand it. All you have to do is make sure you see at least 2 of the previous ones, and that's what that is today. It's one of those getting ready for the last Saturday or the last Sunday of the month for the actual transformation. So here's your time. What if your decision was, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow this in April. I'm going to follow this in April. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take those 3. I'm going to take that transformation at the end of the month. In Spanish on Saturday and English on Sunday. Yes, there you have it. Yes, and have souls experience are similar. Yes, it is a miracle, soul. You're right, an absolute miracle. Because we are miracles. We all are. We've just been so ingrained with all of those negative and positive belief systems that stop us from seeing and believing and knowing that's who we are. And I'm telling you, that is who you are. Yes. So, let's get at it. Just like the sun is shining. Just like the sun just come up. With the magnificent waves in the background and the startling, beautiful cloud formations that creating this magnificent day. This is what I call Holy Saturday. Yeah, you are divine. You are divine. You just haven't got a clue in the world even how remotely close you are to knowing that. And that's what Soul found out last Sunday. You have yourself a magnificent day. Make sure you get a chance today and tomorrow to take that Iamdivinity instant permanent transformation. This message comes from the heart of God.